Hey, I'm Bright Lady Kate.
I'm Hannah.
And I'm Rachel.
That was wrong.
We've done it. We're too rusty. Try again.
I don't remember who goes first,
Oh, me.
but who goes
Bright
second?
Lady Kate goes first because she's the only one with light eyes.
I
Like
will
that.
go first. I will go first. Brown eyes, dark eyes. Here we go.
So typical.
I am Bright Lady Kate.
And I'm Rachel.
And I'm Hannah.
And this is
Feast
Sheath.
And Shatter.
and Sprens.
With Matt.
And yeah,
Oh, yeah.
special guest Matt.
Special guest.
Is it hot in here or is it just me tuning in to hear these three chatting about fantasy novels of the spicy variety? Not your average book club, if you know what I mean. Are you happy to see us? Or is that a dagger? It's Feast, Sheath, Shatter. It's Feast, Sheath, Shatter.
Wait, Matt, you're not supposed to be able to read. Who read you this book?
Yeah, who read you this book?
Oh, I listened to the audiobook.
Oh,
Oh.
good.
Perfect.
As any God-fearing
Rosharian.
Vorin
Vorin.
man would do.
Thank goodness.
You didn't get the footnotes then.
No.
Footnotes set the real
I
tone.
love that. I love that in his. I hate the safe hand, but
But he inhibits the men of
yeah,
Warren.
he gives them both a thing where men are not scholars. Men
Yeah.
do not read.
Which I love.
They're not allowed
Right?
to read.
Which
It's
makes them-
shameful for men to do those things.
It is so
Yeah.
shameful.
Which makes them kind of not like intellectual in any way.
And yet somehow they're still the rulers, but that's okay. It's okay. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's
And
fine.
well, I know in this book we don't really get a good sense of why that is one of the rules of the world, but yeah, the safe hand.
Yeah.
Hannah's
you.
got her safe
I have
hand.
my
Yeah.
safe hand put away.
Everybody
Yeah.
wear your gloves.
Pretty soon in winter, we'll all have safe
I'm
hands.
looking at
Yeah.
that sexy left hand, Rachel.
Ooh.
What a choice.
How you like these knuckles?
Oh, the one part where Kaladin is like, he actually sees a left hand and
Yeah.
he gets like shy about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's a lady of the streets.
Yeah.
And she doesn't have it covered. And he's like, oh my God.
Oh.
I mean,
Oh.
it's a great point about how it's a social stigma.
Yeah.
We make
Yeah.
it up.
Modesty.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we make it up.
So if it isn't obvious already, we're doing The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson.
Mm-hmm.
That was your cold open. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Yeah.
This is a chonky book.
Mm-hmm.
How long I think we have the same page length. Hannah has a different copy. Mine is like 1,250 pages. 1,252 pages long.
Mine is 1001.
Yeah.
Matt, do you remember how many hours it is? I think it's like 32.
Yeah, and then the latest one's supposed to be like 66 hours.
Yeah.
62,
62 hours.
62
Beat
hours.
out Atlas Shrugged by like 5 hours.
Wow.
Yeah. Is longer than Atlas Shrugged.
I can't imagine. So, Wind
Well,
and
Rhythm
Truth.
of War was 55 hours, like Atlas Shrugged.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, it felt like that. Wind and Truth comes out December 6th, so we're going to try and read them before that, but we might not make it, and that's okay too.
We're going to get there eventually.
Pretty close
When
enough.
we get there, we get there.
But
Yeah. Just like Kaladin gets there eventually.
yeah,
Poor
kids.
Kaladin. He's
Poor
such a
feller.
good character. Brandon, I read another one of Brandon Sanderson's books recently, and I forgot how much better he got in Way of Kings. And it really made me appreciate how well he writes the characters in Way of Kings, even the women.
Mhm. Yeah, I think he was waiting to start the Stormlight Archive until he'd felt like he could do it justice.
Well, and
Yeah.
he in The Way of Kings took 10 years.
Yeah.
So it took a really long time, and it's actually 45 hours. So it's pretty hefty. Yeah, it took him like 10 years. He said this is one of the first books he started, and he's always known that this is going to be his, like, what's the word that starts with an O?
His magnum opus.
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this book alone took him 10 years?
Yeah, like he started it and
Oh,
then
cool.
didn't publish it until like 10 years later. But he knew that this was his like
Mm-hmm.
Wheel of Time. This
was his heart story.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a part
his,
of the Cosmere.
his Wheel of Time after he finished the Wheel of Time.
Yeah. After he finished Robert Jordan's The Wheel of Time. And there's lots of books. It's not just the Stormlight Archives.
Yeah, there's the whole Cosmere.
Yeah. So you don't have to know all that stuff to read this book. This is a great book to start if you like reading 1,200 pages to start.
Yeah.
Just
This was a
casually.
If you're a casual, yeah.
I feel like this would be a good introduction to epic fantasy.
I think so.
If you had someone who was like, I like fantasy, I'm ready to dip my toe into like epic fantasy.
Right.
This feels almost better than Wheel of Time.
Oh,
because
it feels easier to read.
it is.
Oh
'cause
yeah,
Wheel
it's
of
a lot
Time,
more engaging.
yeah, it doesn't move as fast. I love the way he hops.
Right.
If we were stuck in one point of view for 1,200 pages, I'd die.
Yeah.
But we hop around a lot through a lot of different types of characters.
Sure.
We have Kaladin, like the poster child for manic depression.
And this
And
is
PTSD.
Kaladin's book.
Yeah,
So Kaladin is our first POV throughout the book.
right. And then we meet Shallan, who gets better as time goes on. in the book.
Yeah.
Who
Rachel had feelings about Shallan for a while.
Oh, we'll have to have Rachel's gonna rage.
heavy pause.
Rachel's gonna rage corner.
Hey, I pushed through and she improves greatly.
Yeah, and I think she's supposed to start off as a teenager because
Yeah.
they are teenagers. Also, she's only 17 when this starts, but if you look into the lore, the Risharian calendar is longer than Earth years, so she's like 19.
Yeah.
So she is an adult.
yes.
legally.
Yeah,
Legally
even,
an
even by
adult.
our standards.
Yeah.
Yeah, by our standards, yes.
Which means Kaladin's like 21. Because
Yes.
isn't he 19?
Yes.
Yeah.
So he's like a nice.
Because we were in his
20
head for a while before we find out he's 19. And I was like, no.
Yeah.
All this has happened in his life and he's 19.
Yes, he's a little bit older.
Yeah.
On an Earth to an Earth year. So
Because it's like 500 days or something. I forget. It's like a much longer period.
Yeah, and I think he was 16 when he went off to the battlefield, which
Mhm.
would be close to 18. It'd be like
which
getting drafted when you're 18 in the
which would
US.
make sense as to why he was able to step into leadership a little bit later in life.
Yeah.
More believable than a 16-year-old.
Right.
right,
But wasn't
especially
his
since he
brother
was
younger?
raised-
Like 15.
Yeah.
So how were they able to take his brother if he was
Well,
too young?
Because
It's
they're
not
evil light
America.
eyes.
Oh,
Because light eyes are all bad people.
it's not America.
Yeah.
Got
No. Mm-mm.
it. Totally
There
makes
is
sense
no
now.
age
Yeah.
of consent on Roshar.
Okay. Got it.
No. There are a lot of spren, though, which I thought was really interesting. The spren for everything. And people just take it as like, yeah, of course, when I'm drawing and I'm feeling really creative, tiny creatures start crawling around on
I know.
the page.
I love that though.
The spren are the best part about the book, to be
I like it.
honest.
Me too.
That is the first sense of magic in the world.
Yeah.
Right? Our first magic is a spren. And so we get, when is the first time we see a spren? I'm not sure.
Almost immediately.
Kaladin's in the slave cart because
Yeah.
he had been enslaved.
Kaladin and Tinkerbell.
And there's a
right?
Tinkerbell, yeah.
Yeah, there's a wind.
A wind spren
Yeah, that is
Floating.
like playing mischief.
and
like,
lingering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think you
She-
mentioned some rot spren on somebody's wound.
Right.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And they don't know. I love that they don't know if the antiseptic, if the rot spren don't like the antiseptic or if the antiseptic prevents the rot spren.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they don't know the
science
difference.
behind
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. They just know it works.
Yes,
Yeah,
they don't have
yeah.
germ theory.
Well, I love that they had
They have
science.
spren
Like I
theory.
loved all the
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
the making inventions. Like halfway
The
through it, they're
the
like,
fo-
we don't need fire anymore. Now we figured out how to make like a heater.
Yeah.
And so they all just have heaters in the fireplace. And he's like, well, I miss fire.
Yeah.
Fire was cool.
Yeah.
Well, and then all the women are the engineers.
Yes.
And all the women are
Mhm.
the intellects, and they're the ones that basically have. If knowledge is power, but then they're
Right.
so inhibited
yeah.
by their left hand being covered, and the food.
Yeah.
women. You eat women's food.
Which is sweet.
Your girly jam. Which are girly strawberry
Your
jam.
girly jam. Oh God, what's that guy's name?
Oh, the priest guy.
The Arden. Yeah.
Ardent.
Caleb? Callahan?
Ca-
Calhoun? Candlelight?
Candlelight is the closest to what it actually is, I think.
Kendar.
Can male ardents, are they allowed to read?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
Ardents
okay.
are the only men that are allowed to read.
Yes, that's what I thought. Okay.
And so
Yes.
they're kind of part of academia,
Yes.
Yeah.
but they are property, not
Right.
independent people.
Yes.
But
It's like being a postdoc.
Postdoc. Like a postdoctorate?
Like, yeah, like if you get your PhD and then you have to work as a postdoc. It's
Oh,
kind of
right.
like,
Right.
You're paid almost nothing for massive amounts of work.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. So this book starts, the prologue in this book is actually pretty important.
And I was so confused.
I remember being super confused when I
like,
first read
I'm
it.
pretty sure the last time I read it, I bailed on that. I was like, you know
No,
what?
I'm just
not
gonna
ready.
skip it.
I'm not ready for this right
Yeah,
now.
we get this guy talking about some something classed. What are they called?
Iconic.
Iconoclast with arrow faces.
They're not iconoclast. That was me.
It's not
That's from
iconoclast.
the
What's that
schism.
from?
That's from when the Catholic Church split.
Well, what are they called?
They're called
Arrow faces.
not void bringers.
Mm-mm.
But that's
Thunderclast.
lore.
Thunderclast, iconoclast.
Yeah. Iconic. They were the people that broke the
And the
icons
Oath
because
Pact.
Catholics don't like icons and
Yeah,
Eastern Orthodox do.
thunderclasts. So we get this guy, and he goes and he talks to this guy, and he's like, "What's happening?" And basically, we find out they're all abandoning some kind of post that they have.
Yeah,
And they're all like, we can't do it anymore.
yeah, we're kind of tired of doing this shit, so we decided we just kind of maybe wouldn't do it anymore.
And
And this
they're-
felt like a good time because only one of us died.
Yeah.
so-
And so we're just going to let him rot in hell for however long he holds out. And we're going to go do our thing. And then, like, that's it.
yeah.
Yeah, it's really confusing.
They stick
and they all
their
leave their
blades
swords
in the
behind.
ground.
They leave their swords behind. Right. But
And-
and
Yeah.
that's 15,000 years before our story, right? Isn't it?
4,500.
4,500.
Oh, it's five. Okay.
Yeah, 4,500 years later is when we pick up.
15,000 years. Just like in. Just kidding.
You're getting your fantasy.
I am,
mixed up.
yes,
yeah,
I
no, it's
correct,
fine.
I am.
4,500 years later is when we pick up
Okay.
with Zeth Sunsun Villano, Truthless of Shinovar.
I
love
love
that we have to say
him.
his whole name.
Yes, every
Every
single
single
time.
time.
There's actually a sound on TikTok right now going viral. I'll have to send it to you guys. It's really funny. But it's like this pop song with him, Jack reading that,
Oh,
his
okay.
name. Yeah, it's good. I'll send it over. But we meet Zeth and we get an assassination.
Yeah.
From whose perspective?
It's from Zeth's perspective
It's
because
from
we're getting
Zeth's-
him doing
yeah.
all of his lashings, and we
Yeah.
don't
Which
get
is
any
so
explanation
cool.
for how he's doing that.
Yeah.
But I could picture it in my head.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yes, he's extremely good at
I
describing.
don't care.
Sanderson's
I-
called the interesting magic system guy.
So
Yeah.
cool. I really liked that lashing to the walls and being upside down for a minute. And
Sticking people to the wall and then waiting for it to wear off so they fall on their
it was
own
kind of like the
swords.
Matrix.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, and that movie about dreams.
Inception.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
one. Yeah. That's what it's like. It's flipping around.
Yeah.
And he's going to kill somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And
king.
and you're like, what's going on? And you're getting his it's so funny that we start off with his point of view.
Yeah.
So you like immediately like him, but he's a bad guy in this
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah.
He's
but
doing
he
a-
doesn't want to be.
He doesn't want to be.
But he just feels like
He
he
is-
I
has
feel
to.
so bad about it.
yeah, he has
He's like, well, you got my magic rock, so
yeah.
gotta do what you say.
I gotta do what you say. I'm honor bound.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he has this wicked sword.
Yep. His shard blade.
Yes.
And we meet shard plate because somebody's wearing shard plate.
Which shard plate is like Who wants to describe shard plate?
I'm like imagining armor of some kind, but I don't really
With
know
like
what it
interlocking
looks like.
plates.
It's
So
like-
it's real
Like full
mobile.
body
It's like-
plate armor,
It's nanotech.
but like
Yeah.
Iron
It's
Man.
organic.
Iron
It's like
Man.
organic and nanotech that like
Cool.
melds to your body and
Mm-hmm.
but with no technology. It just
Yeah,
like exists.
they don't know how it works. You just have it, and it will regrow.
And they
If they
win
lose a
it
part.
from
They have a
those, like they have to win it by fighting in the desert, right?
yes, sometimes. So
Yeah, if
when
you defeat a shard bearer, you get their shards.
you get it. So there's like a limited amount of shard plate
Uh-huh.
And shard.
and shard blades.
Yeah.
And so the bright eyes, what they're called?
Light
Light
eyes.
eyes.
Yeah,
Light
light
eyes.
eyes.
Light eyes. The light eyes are the ones that have it for some unknown reason. And I actually do know the reason.
I was about to say, you know.
I do know
Unknown reason.
some unknown reason. Yeah, and so it's literally the most valuable thing on the planet because it makes you completely invincible.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes you super hot and masculine and like a good fighter.
Ooh, you're such a good fighter.
You're so good at killing things.
Good job.
Great job. It also makes you really good at digging, as we found. Dalinar has this moment where he has to be like, has anybody ever tried to use this for just like basic stuff?
Actually being useful for society.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
just
Nope,
digging a
nobody
hole.
has.
Yeah, nobody had considered that. He's like, look at how good I am at digging this hole, this toilet hole.
Yeah, because the blade can just cut through stone.
Yeah.
But everyone
Yeah.
was like, that's beneath me. I am a bright eyes. I will never do that.
Yeah, and he's like, nah, dog, I got to get some energy out. I'm pissed. I don't know what's going on. I'm going to go dig the toilet hole. And everybody is like, oh, he is losing his mind.
Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. Well, great.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love him, by the way.
Oh, God, he's a
Dalinar.
daddy, mad daddy. Like,
Love.
hey, daddy, you are.
I can tell right away you are fine. You have salt and pepper
Yeah,
in the temple.
he's
Silver
like,
fox.
he's
Silver
like,
fox.
He's a
yeah.
silver fox.
he's like
Yeah.
Cassian, but older.
yeah.
Yeah.
Settled. Already had his wife, maybe.
Yeah. I love that they describe his face as not attractive. And I think that is a part for me where I was like, oh, that's a Brandon Sanders. That's a man thing to say because women don't look at a face. It's
Yeah.
not a face.
We don't
It's-
really care
It's an
about
energy,
that.
an aura,
Uh-huh.
a like walk, a gait, a like everything about him is really attractive. So to say he doesn't have an attractive face, I was just like, yeah, bro, that's not how the female gaze works.
Yeah,
No.
we're not looking for like symmetrical.
Yeah,
Like,
he
wow,
can
he
have
could
that
take care of
fucked up
yours.
nose. Like, daddy could get it.
Looks like
Sorry,
he's been
Matt.
beaten up a few times.
Welcome to Feast, Sheath, Shatter.
It's all good.
What did you think? You were like,
I
yeah.
got my nose broken in a fight in middle school. That's why I look so
See?
rugged.
There you
Yeah,
go.
there you go. That's actually what started Rachel's mating bond to you.
Yep.
I was like, wow, that slight imperfection. It just
I love it.
draws
Yeah,
me
yeah,
in. Yeah.
yeah.
Like a moth
The,
to a flame, even.
What's the name of the lady that just wants to get with him? Yes, thank you.
Oh, Navani.
What's
Navani.
Yeah, the Navani
Yes.
too is Dalinar. She's like, hey, we could make it right now. And he's like, really kind of don't want to. You are my brother's wife. She's
Yeah.
like,
Well, I mean,
Well,
he wants
Not
to, but
anymore.
Yeah, and that is one of the points that I like to make when we do get like a male writer is that for some reason they often write heroes as if they cannot do two things at one time. Like I cannot date my brother's widow and also have honor and integrity and do whatever it is I need to do.
yeah.
Well,
Right?
Dalinar's kind of stuck in the phase of to be honorable, I need to have a set of rules and follow those rules, the codes, exactly.
Right.
And if
to the code.
I violate the codes, then I have violated my honor. And so he's
Yes.
identifying with the set of rules that he follows. And it won't always be the case. He grows a little bit beyond
Ooh.
that so that he can be honorable, aside from the exact like legalistic code that he's following. But the legalistic social code that he's following says yeah, you can't be with your former brother's wife. That's
Yeah.
not cool.
Well, he's trying to save the world.
Right.
Yeah, he
I-
thinks. He actually doesn't know what he's supposed to do. But he
Yeah.
knows, everybody thinks
Unite
he's crazy. Yeah, he knows he's supposed to unite him. He's having these weird visions. People think he's losing his damn mind. Too many battles.
Yeah. The Blackthorn
Yeah.
has lost his edge.
Yeah. So we've got these two stories. I feel like this book is really about Dalinar and Kaladin
Yeah.
because the crux of the story, our ending, is about them coming together. And then
Yeah.
we've got Shallan.
Which is a good moment.
oh my
It's
God,
such
it's
a
so
relief.
good.
I cheered.
I cry.
I
I cry when it
I'm
happens.
so fucking excited when they finally get together.
I
Such a
know.
moment.
I literally cry. I cried when, and you laugh and you giggle like when Kaladin's like, Adolin, I don't know who you are, but you need to stop what you're doing. Stop trying to save your dad and get your fucking men across that bridge, or you're gonna die. And Adolin's like,
I cannot abandon my father.
He's like, are you a dark guy's telling me what to do
"Are
right
you
now?
trying
He's
to
like,
tell me what to
he's
do
like,
right
get
now?"
the fuck off the field, Adolin. He's like, fucking fine.
Yeah.
And then later he's like, why did I do what that guy told me to do?
Yeah.
I didn't have to do what
Because
that
he
guy
is
told
so
me to
commanding. He's so commanding.
do. Yeah.
And he's like, you need to go, son. And he's like, okay, yeah, okay. And but that tension between them is so great.
It's so good.
I love it.
and they had already had a moment with over the prostitute
Yeah,
that was
yeah, yeah.
like
Sadius's camp.
mistreated.
yeah,
Yeah,
where and Kaladin, he was like, Adolin was one of the first ones that Kaladin noticed actually did something like honorable and right.
Yeah.
Very
And
was
then
like-
he flipped him a coin and was like, dude, he's like, no. And he just left. He's like, you didn't ask nicely.
Right.
You didn't say please.
I fucking love Kaladin.
Yeah.
Love him.
Yeah, I love Adolin. I love his little golden retriever, nice dressing, himbo ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is
Yes.
but he's a good dude.
Everybody's calling is all of these, like, my calling is
Yeah.
whatever, politics
Yeah.
or science. He's like, mine's dueling.
And he's really
Like-
good
like
at
when
it.
I
Ken
like pretty good at
says,
dueling.
My job isn't surfing, it's just beach.
Yeah. Yeah. I just duel.
Yeah.
And he's really good at it.
He is really good
And
at
you know
it.
what's
He's
My
such a
job
Ken.
is sword.
Yeah. Shard blade. My job is shard blade. Yeah, and he's like it's refreshing. He's refreshing for me just because a lot of the blondes in a lot of the books that we read are not the good dudes.
Yeah.
So from like a Tamlin to an Adolin, it's nice.
Yeah.
And I actually think that Adian is a little bit based on Adolin.
Oh, he definitely could be.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
genuinely,
I get it.
I really do think that
Oh
they're
yeah,
similar.
we talked about this, and I said, but he's not the whore of Otterland.
Yeah, he's not the whore of Outerland, but he is the whore of the
Yeah,
desert.
I mean,
Yeah.
he can't
Of
help
the
it that
plains. He's the
everyone
whore of the
loves him.
plains.
I know. It's not his fault.
It's not his fault. He's so good looking.
Ridiculously good looking.
Exactly.
Ridiculously good looking.
Yeah.
He's so likable.
He is very likable. And you kind of don't want to like him. You kind of like, okay, well, who's going to be, you're trying to figure out, well, who's the protagonist? And
Yeah,
who's the
I'm still
antagonist?
trying to figure out who I don't like.
yeah.
Yeah.
I've so far just met all people that I like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Except Sadius.
Sadius is a
Yeah.
punk bitch.
Yeah, we don't like him.
He's it's kind of unbelievable that there wasn't more repercussion for what he did at that last
Why?
battle.
I think
In
it's
all
just
able to
honesty.
get away with that.
I think it's just to show how ineffective the current leadership
Yeah.
is. Like
Okay.
how broken
And the
the,
whole
current system is.
system.
Yeah.
That they can do that. They can literally try to kill each other.
An entire army.
And that it's just like, well, you shouldn't have trusted me.
Yeah. It was like
It definitely
8,000
doesn't
people.
resonate with current day political events.
Not at all.
No.
Zero.
No.
Nope.
Yeah.
Not at all.
No.
Completely
Yeah.
unrelatable.
Sorry.
Sorry.
You just really brought the
On a
tone down.
completely-
Let's
Ooh, yeah. How
right.
believable is Kaladin's arc, though, from where we start to where we end with him?
Yes. It is it's a little bit of a slow burn. I know, Hannah,
Very slow.
This, as your first time reading it, like, because it's just, the book is almost all just like character development. I mean,
Yeah.
it does have some plot, like things happen. But how did you feel about where we started and going through it? Because
Well, I mean, like Kate talked to me when I was like halfway through, and she's like, "Oh, good, you're doing good then." And I was like, "Yeah, nothing's happened yet. I
Yeah.
can't tell you one thing that has happened. It's all building though. I feel like something really amazing is going to happen, but it just hasn't happened yet. Lots
this was
of
a
waiting
very
around.
putting all of the pieces on the board book.
Right.
That's
Well-
what this book really was.
And I will say this, and Matt, you might be able to attest to this. Is that how you say that?
A test.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
Is that a word?
Yeah, is that a word? Yeah. So after, because I have read all of these, let me just start by saying this. I binged Stormlight before I found Throne of Glass. So this was like, I finished this and it wasn't finished, and I was like, fuck that. And I Googled finished series, which is how I found Sarah J. Maas. Just little
I
tidbit.
love that.
Yeah, it was very organic. Google was like, read these. And I was like, okay. And then my life
And
changed.
then your life
And
was
then my life
over.
changed. But when you go back and you read this book again, the intensity and immense, like even the chapter titles, which I love that it has chapter titles, everything is like concentrated important stuff.
Yes.
Like really concentrated. Oh my God, this is so important.
It's setting the scene.
It's like I wanted to highlight everything.
Yeah,
because
nothing's
it's
there for no reason.
Yeah.
You can tell.
and it's so important. And you're like, oh, this is the first time they talk about this, and this is the first time they talk about this. And I don't know. I found the reread to be really like great. Like because you pick up on so many things the first time or the second time that you couldn't get to the first time.
right. You didn't know the context for it until you went
Yes.
back.
And
Yeah.
now then it's just like concentrated.
Especially those little blurb, like we'll have the 3 main POV characters and then we'll have the interludes where it's the snippets from random people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't this the one where we meet the guy in the Pure Lake who's just walking
Yes.
around
Yes.
with the fish?
And
Yeah.
the whole point of that is to meet the guys who have come over from who knows where.
Yeah, to find.
Okay, because
Who
when
knows
I
who?
finished the book, I was like, what about that guy? The fish.
What about the fish guy? Yeah, who loved his
about-
crispy fish and didn't want to marry his
Yeah.
crispy
He
fryer.
wasn't trying to get settled down.
Yeah,
I was like,
he's not a one fish woman. Or,
Here's my
that doesn't
main
make
question as a first time reader. What does the bridge look like?
I think it's long
Long, not wide,
and
not
wooden.
and wide and flat.
like is it 5 men wide? Are there
Yeah.
5 men in the
it's
front row?
probably-
Yeah,
It's probably like 10 feet wide by maybe like 20 feet long.
Oh
Like-
wow.
and heavy.
I thought there was a diagram at some point.
Well, I was
Probably.
looking. There's not one in this, which is disappointing because
You got the illustrated edition.
I got a really pretty cool, edition with lots of illustrations, but there's nothing showing a bridge. So in my mind, I'm imagining a pretty short bridge in the under. Like how are they carrying it on their shoulder? Are there like posts
Unless
underneath?
there's
There's
posts that go
beams.
this way.
There's beams that go forward to back underneath.
So they
then
can
you
hold
put
on
your
to
head
it.
between them
Long.
and put the boards on your shoulders, and that's why they can't see because their head's like in the bridge.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
whatever
except
the
dudes in
worst
front.
thing you can think of, that's what it looks
Yeah,
like.
that's terrible.
That's quite the scene when Kaladin finally gets there and they put him on the bridge and they're like, okay, you're going to go up front. And he's like, well, this is so nice. I can see. Why did nobody want to be up here? And then they
I
start,
got the best view.
Yeah,
they start shooting arrows at him. He's like, oh, shit.
yeah. Just that made me think of something because you asked earlier, what did you think about Kaladin's arc? I think that it is one of the most subtly, like, beautiful ways of showing how leadership, how people become just a natural leader.
Yeah.
Like everything he does makes other people want to trust him and believe in him.
Yeah.
And like the shitty things that happen to him are the reasons why he is so good at what he does. And like that fighter surgeon combo and his like constant struggle with do I kill or do I save? And like what does that mean? What is the line he says where he's like, you have to protect you can't kill to protect, or I don't know. But
There's a lot of good lines in there about
Yeah.
his
All of them.
surgeon versus his warrior fighting,
yeah, and just
ending lives versus
I
saving
mean, I
lives.
believe it. I'm like, yeah, no wonder they want to follow you. Like, no wonder they make you a captain,
Yeah. I like that he gets no magical fix.
right?
Like at no point does he get a Fabrial that stops him from being depressed.
right,
He has to work through it.
right.
And he
has to-
knows when it's coming and he's like, okay, like
Yeah.
I need to get moving because otherwise it's gonna take me. And I'm gonna be back to what I was and I can't do that again.
like that terrible moment when he's like he's about to give up. He's
Right.
like, I
Well,
can't do
he's-
it anymore.
He's about to jump off the cliff.
Yeah, I
And
can't do
then-
it anymore.
And Syl comes with her little leaf and he's
Yeah.
like, she's like, I got you a leaf.
It's
they
a
made
poison-
you happy last time.
And it was poison.
Yeah. And he's
right.
like,
These were really important
wow,
to you
thank you.
before, but you lost it because
and that's when you got sad.
messing with
So I
you.
found you
Yeah.
a new leaf. And I was like, this is really cute. Like I love Syl so much.
I
I love
love
Syl
her.
so much.
Yeah.
She is so great. And their dynamic is super interesting because it's very like a daemon, like a soul creature,
Yeah.
like a platonic. I don't know how to describe it. Like a piece of your soul
Mm-hmm.
that lives outside of you,
yeah.
right? What are some other other things that we use? Like a pet, like a familiar.
Yeah.
familiar.
She's like a familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's super cute and just starts off so like little kid toddler
Yeah.
and then grows into this like beautiful
woman.
being as she's discovering who she is and starts to remember stuff, which is weird.
And it's really hard on her too. Like the more she remembers, like she gets pretty down about it sometimes. I feel like she has
she's
like,
like, oh, I remembered some more.
Yeah. And then she's like, humans suck. You guys
Yeah.
lie all the
Sucks.
time. And he's
Yeah.
like, well, yeah.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, no, they do. Yeah.
but Kaladin, I also get the feeling that especially when we have flashbacks with him, it just seems like he was always meant to be. You get the idea that he was born to be a leader.
Oh yeah. Oh,
You know, like some
100%.
people just
Yeah.
have it.
Yeah. Whatever
He
his chart
had
is, it's
Yeah.
leadership.
Leadership
Yeah.
all the way.
Yeah. If we looked
Rosharan
in the-
astrology.
Yeah, if we looked in
Ooh,
the
that'd be fun to
Cosmere,
get
it would
into.
say like Leo, and just it would be like whatever you need.
Mm-hmm.
Leader. Yep.
Yeah,
He wasn't happy until he took leadership again.
right. It's the only thing that gives him genuine purpose.
Yep.
Yeah. Because he starts trying to, because the bridge crews are just cannon fodder.
Yeah,
And so he organizes his bridge crew, much to their dismay.
yeah. Chagrin.
And then we get to meet all of the bridge crew people who are all really cool.
Okay, real quick, everybody say the best crew, the best person in the book. Ready, set, go. Rock.
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 Lopin.
The Lopin. Yeah,
That's my cousin. Well, how many cousins do you have? He's like,
Cousin.
that's like
You can
it's
never
like-
have
yeah.
enough.
Yeah. Oh, and he talks so fast, and he has that interesting accent.
yeah. And he does, he
Yeah.
picks, he's like, you know, why did you pick a one-armed man? Or like, why were you happy to go with me? He's like, because you picked me. Like, I'm happy
Yeah.
to be here. Good.
Yeah.
I'll figure this out.
Like natural optimist, always gonna
Mhm.
do. Doesn't matter that we're all just like bridgemen.
no,
Yeah.
he gets him carrying
And
water.
Teft.
Yeah.
I love Teft. Is it Teft or Teft?
I
Teft.
think
It's like it's
Teft.
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 Yeah.
Teft and his like him being this old grizzly man who's like looking at Kaladin, and you know there's something deep and dark there, and he's just like, you're the thing. You're the thing.
Yeah.
Like we've been looking for you. And like the way that support and love and the support and the love is really what keeps Kaladin going. And
Right, and
that
I like
becomes
that
very
he has
symbiotic.
these episodes where he is not functional, but
Yeah.
everybody's like, "Okay, we got you. You just
right.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
take
it's
some
very
downtime.
Eeyore. It's very
Yeah.
like they're the Pooh and company to his Eeyore.
Right.
Aw.
Yeah.
And they recognize that that's a part of who he is, and that he has to have those moments.
Mhm.
There's an interview with Sanderson where he's talking about how one of his sons struggles with depression. And so, but he doesn't at all. And so he wanted to make sure that to write that in there and talk
Wow.
about the men's struggle with mental health, which
Yes.
doesn't get talked about enough, and normalizing that men, even the greatest men, will have these really challenging mental issues, and that you just have to work out through
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
If I don't
some
ever stop
galore
working
training
out,
stuff.
my mind will never. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
when
gonna
he
carry
starts
a
doing
big
the-
board back and forth for a while.
Well, everybody watches him like, what is wrong with that guy?
and he's
doing?
like 6'7".
Oh,
y'all.
he's tall, dark, and damaged, which
Yeah,
is exactly
tall,
why
yeah,
I
dark,
loved
yeah.
him.
and damaged.
The Lopin sounds like the Lorcan. That's why you like him.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Except Lopin is he's the funnest character, and he's different than everybody else.
True. He's a good time. But I like Rock. I love that Rock
Yes.
is like kind of all knowing.
And he won't fight. He's like, no, that's not my job. I'm the cook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like
But I'm a cook.
but I'm a third brother. I think he's a third
Yeah.
or something. He's like, no, I don't do the fighting. I do the cooking.
Yeah. And
He was like,
cuts
you
his
air-
own
He's not
you
low
hair.
enough
air
in the
sick
hierarchy
lowlander.
to have to fight.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, it's too much air.
Yeah, air sick lowlander. Yeah, and then he also knows how to give haircuts, and like he really is like kind of the mother hen.
Yeah.
He is the one
He's
that
the culture.
provides the culture. The culture. That's what I was gonna say. The culture. But hey, y'all, we haven't even mentioned my absolute favorite character in the entire book,
Oh yeah.
and I am not. This is who I fangirl after, but it is Wit.
Wit.
Wit / Hoyd.
Slash
Hoyd.
Yes.
Yes.
The
So, who wants to take on the Hoyd explanation?
I want you to, because you had to explain him to me because I didn't picture him
we don't.
the
Yeah.
way you picture him.
Oh, well, I picture him as kind of like untraditionally attractive, but tall, like kind of like Loki, like a Tom Hiddleston. Tall, he's a little bit older. But the thing about Hoyd is a character that shows up all over the Cosmere.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
if this is your first venture, or you're not, you will see him in other books. But yeah, I think he's
Sanderson
like,
has said he's in every single story that he's written.
yeah, Hoyd,
Oh,
and
cool.
he shows
Yeah,
up as
since
Wit,
he was a
and you
kid,
kind of know Wit, you kind of recognize him before you know who he is,
Mhm.
and they do reveal that in this book, right?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, because he introduces himself
Well,
to
the
Kaladin
people
as Hoyd.
in the lake,
Yeah.
the warm lake, they're the whatever pure lake people.
Yeah.
They're looking for Hoyd.
Yeah,
They're like, but I think he goes by something else here.
yeah,
Hmm.
but I think he's hot. He's just like non-traditional. Like he's not like.
He
the
has an
funny
unattractive face.
Yeah,
But
or
a good
just
vibe.
yeah, but like a really good vibe. He's not like old and smarmy. He's
No.
like
See, I thought
quippy.
that.
No, it's yeah.
I
well,
think it was the
it
narrator's
was
voice.
the way
for
that
him.
he plays his voice. He plays him like an old man, kind of.
Yeah. Which
But-
I mean, I liked him. Like I
but-
liked his character.
Yeah. Yeah, I see him as like the smartass that knows everything.
Yeah.
He's
He knows
always exactly
everything.
his placements and where he shows up is extremely intentional, and you pick that up really early on.
Mm-hmm.
Like Kaladin just running into him out in the desert and him being like, "Hey, have my flute, bro."
Yeah.
You know, and then his
Yeah.
storytelling, and you know, you definitely know that there's something more to him than just being the court jester.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Which I loved his dialogue, all of his dialogue.
All of it.
All of the dialogue in this
Mhm.
book was just stellar.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
his was just the best.
He's
The
so
best.
funny.
He's mocking everybody, and then Dalinar comes in. He's like, "Sup, Dalinar?"
yeah.
He's like, "You don't have anything for me?" He's like, "No,
No, sir.
Yeah.
no, you have a great day."
Yeah. Yeah, he is.
Which-
he is.
Which is his way of fucking with Dalinar.
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
Absolutely.
It's
Yeah.
the most impactful way that he can fuck with Dalinar.
Yeah,
We couldn't
it
think
is.
of anything better because it
No.
does drive Dalinar crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like, "I hate that one."
yeah, I don't know why, but
Right.
something about him is
Something about
something about that guy. I love the way he treats Renarin, because Renarin, you know, the younger brother,
Yeah.
like when we first meet him, we think he's really like weak. I think he has like seizures.
Yeah.
He's like epileptic or something.
He has fits
So
or whatever
kind of
they
like
call 'em.
panic,
Panic,
disorder.
like a panic disorder, something like
Mhm.
that. And Wit kind of like Renarin's one of the only people that he kind of like builds up as
Yeah.
he's messing with, versus when he's talking to like Sadius or somebody and he just rips them to shreds.
Yeah.
Like I know I can see your level
You are an asshole. You are the villain of this book.
of this
So,
book. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. I love Wit so much.
Well, Witt kind
And-
of described it as the things that he says to people are provocative in the sense that he's trying to provoke them with
Right.
the ideas that they need to accept about themselves. And so, like with Renarin needs to kind of get a lift. But
Yeah.
most of the elites, most of the royalty, whatever, they need to be taken down a notch.
Right.
And so that's what Witt tells them, is what he believes they need to hear to kind of wake up a little bit. And most of them ignore it, but there's
on their weird
there's
floating
a purpose
platform
to
dinners.
his insults.
Yeah.
It was the contrast of like these men, like Kaladin's men, are dying,
Yes.
like being thrown into like a
chasms,
meat grinder
giant
Chasms.
chasms.
every single day.
Yeah.
And then we're going to go have dinner on these floating platforms with like delicate bridges in between them. And we have these overflowing tables that
Yeah.
have
And lights
men's
floating on
food
the
and
water
women
streams.
food. And there's lights floating. And
So beautiful.
I was like, wow, way to drive home the
Mm-hmm.
class division.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, and it does that super subtly, and you really do get a hint. Like that article that the guy wrote where he said that Sanderson's not a good writer. I was like, that it doesn't make any sense to me.
No, that guy. No, that's a terrible article. Everybody hated him for that. They were
Yeah.
like, what are you even? And like using the quotes that he did
so
from Sanderson.
accessible, but so beautifully done. You know?
This is a good book.
Yeah, it's easy to read. It's not like Tolkien where you feel like you have to have some kind of English degree to
Yeah.
actually read it. He didn't
Yeah.
invent his own language. You can follow it, you understand it, it's accessible, but it's also like deeply emotional and character driven, and I just don't know how anyone could ever say that.
No.
But maybe I'm just a basic little bitch.
Well,
Maybe.
Maybe.
he finally
well.
he finally nails smart women in this book too, because we
Yeah.
haven't even talked about Yasna.
We have not even talked
and
about
Shallan.
Yasna.
And like when Shallan is trying to hook up with Yasna, first she makes her chase her over like chase her through several different ports where she has to keep getting back on her boat and going.
Mm-hmm.
And then she finally catches up with her and she's like, "Oh no, that was just like a maybe, but you failed. So sorry,
Yeah.
you're not going to be my
Well,
person anymore." And
Yasna's the baddest bitch.
yeah.
Hell yeah.
And so
The
Shallan,
baddest
Hell yeah.
bitch.
but like
Yeah.
Shallan's desperation where she
Yeah.
goes through all those like, okay, then I'll write you a letter. And she's like, well, this is a great letter, but like, no, still no, leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah.
So she goes and buys those books and comes back and sits like in the alcove next to her.
Yeah.
Like, well, you didn't give me a timeline. You just said, learn them and come back. So I'm going to learn them tonight and I'll be back tomorrow. And she's like, fine. Yeah, okay, great. No, you're exactly who I want, actually.
Right. I always
You
wonder
convinced
if
me.
Yeah, and I always wonder if Yasna, I mean, I think she just sensed something.
Probably.
Yeah.
She had to have sensed some kind of power with Shallan.
Yeah, I saw this lady the other day say she hated Shallan, and I was like, did they pick you yet? I just didn't know. I was like, don't harass them online. Don't harass them online. Don't harass them online. I'm not like other girls.
I'm not like other girls. Other girls are dumb.
Other girls are so stupid.
I loved Shallan and I related to Shallan. Sorry.
No, I like Shallan just fine. It was just right at the beginning when we first met her, and until you realize like she has a
Her
lot, like there's
purpose,
more
like, the
happening here.
stakes.
The stakes of what she's going through.
Mm-hmm.
You're like,
And
oh,
let's
okay,
say
I get
there's
it.
more sides to her personality.
Yeah,
Yeah, let's say that.
Well, there's this
Um,
one part where that I actually marked because I felt so so seen when Shallan, it says angry people unsettled her. She couldn't help but think of her father in one of his tirades, couldn't help but hear screams, bellows, and whimpers. Was she weak because confrontation unsettled her so? She felt she was. And I
Yeah.
was like, yeah.
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 But she's real witty too.
Don't like
Yeah.
confrontation.
And she's smart. The women get to be smart.
She's so smart.
So smart.
I
Yeah.
loved her and Yasna's back and forth.
Yeah. For sure.
All her lessons and stuff.
Yeah. And Yasna being like loud, proud, childless cat lady with no cats.
Love it.
Yeah.
Like I am, call me a fucking spinster.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
Spinster.
go-
Is that
go
what
ahead.
the word?
Spinster.
Call me a heretic. I don't believe in those gods. Get out of here with that.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I'm dedicating my life to. And guess what? My dad was king and my brother is my brother is. So fuck off and let
Yeah.
me run
What
the
else
show.
you got?
Yeah.
What else you got? Yeah, not to mention she's beautiful and
She's
like
stunning.
stunning. Yeah. Just like almost perfection, you could say.
Mm-hmm.
Almost.
Very Manonish.
Manonish. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Cabsol.
Capsule. There it is.
I was looking for the name for you.
Thank you.
Capsule.
My mind couldn't wrap its brain around it.
What did we say?
Capsule.
Candlestick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Candelabra.
He is but a brief flame in this book. So.
Yeah. And in the fan fiction we wrote, more about that to come later.
He just pops up as a cautionary tale.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Well, and he
Yeah,
is
so
a
it's
plot.
like, yeah,
he's a
everybody's
plot
trying to kill me.
device. He's a plot device. Yeah. I mean, he serves pretty good purpose. I
Yeah.
did not see when I first read this him going. I didn't see him being honestly like back like
An
a
assassin.
yeah, an ulterior
Yeah.
motive trying to come for Yasna.
Mm-mm.
Right,
But
because
he-
character development wise, it worked really well to have
Sure.
this character that draws out Shallan
Right. And makes
in
her
a way
feel
that annoys
things.
Yasna. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And brings her bread and jam every day.
And
so
also
it felt
makes
very appropriate in the plot.
yeah, and she
Mhm.
kind of lusts after him a little bit.
Lustspren.
Like if there was a spicy scene, it might be about them two.
It might be.
If
Right.
there were one,
If there were one,
which there are none
Hashtag
canonically.
if there were.
none canonically, it's canonically what's the word? Adjacent.
Yeah.
Does adjacent mean parallel?
Yes.
Yeah.
Alongside of.
Yeah. Yes.
It's
Nice.
compatible.
Yeah.
With
I heard a really good way to describe it the other day, and I can't remember it. I think I wrote it down. I'll look again for it. Yeah, Capsule was. Yeah, you're right.
And they're ardents. They're like monks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was like, he's gonna leave the church for me.
That's hot.
That's hot.
It's a lot.
Does he love me? He like lifts her up. She's like, am I amazing?
Yeah.
Because this guy, am I literally amazing? I think I am.
I'm pretty sure I am.
I'm pretty sure I am.
With my beautiful
This is appropriate
red hair.
attention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know who Shallan kind of reminds me of? I did this TikTok when I was pretending like I knew how to do TikTok, where I was trying to get mass readers, Sarah J. mass readers to read this, where I compared characters in those books to this book. And to me, I compared Shallan to Violet. I think she's a lot like the scribeness and just like she is the smartest person in the room besides Yasna.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But I think Yasna's always the smartest person in Yasna's room.
I have
Yeah.
one time when we're all done with all the books, I'll have to talk to you about my theory about Yasna. I think Matt, did I send it to you? I don't think so. I think I just held
I
it
don't
in.
think so.
Okay, I
held it
held
in.
it in. So another time. I think big things happen to Yasna.
Is this the book where she pretends to
Have a favrial that doesn't work?
Does-
That works?
Where Shallan pretends to cut her own wrist?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So we meet her, the creatures with the weird
Yeah, the
heads,
cryptics.
The cryptics.
Yes.
We
which is
find out they're
super
cryptics
scary.
here? Yeah, but the swirly head guys that have like patterned faces.
It was genuinely a little unsettling when she's drawing and she draws them watching her.
Yes.
And she's like,
Yes.
what? And so she
Yeah.
like runs and she stops and draws again and they're chasing her and she's like, oh my God. And
Yeah.
I was like,
so
She
scary.
this is legitimately
She's
scary.
like, and her drawing is literally realism.
Yeah.
Like she can make pictures on the page.
right. Because she takes memories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she,
I love how her
she-
like blinks.
her mind's
Yeah.
eye is very vivid.
yeah.
Yeah. Very vivid.
That was good.
Yeah, I did like that they sealed the charcoal drawing. That's one of my
Yeah.
like pet peeves is when we write with charcoal or we draw with charcoal and then we just handle it.
And then
Yeah.
it gets everywhere.
And you're like, no, that doesn't stay then. Like
Yeah.
charcoal isn't like a pencil. It doesn't like into the paper or anything.
Right.
It's like sitting on top. That shit will smear immediately. And so she
They-
has her like lacquer.
yeah.
And I was like, thank you, Brandon,
Thank you
for
so
doing
much.
your
It's,
research.
it's the
I
details.
really appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Yeah,
And when
it's-
she's like, there's an art to spraying it on there so it's not too thick and it holds
Yeah.
it, but it doesn't make it like weird. And I was like, thank you.
yeah. Yeah, that's one of those little things.
One of those details where you're like, perfect. Yes, this
Yeah.
is what an artist would do with their
Not
charcoal
like when they have a
drawing. Yeah.
Potter in a movie.
Yes, not like when they put a Potter in a movie and I'm like, everything is wrong. And what did you consult anyone who'd ever looked at a Potter wheel? No. Okay, thank you.
No.
Negative.
Mm.
Unnecessary.
The safe hand pocket is kind of like a snack pouch.
That's what I was
Yeah.
thinking the entire time.
Yeah.
And it holds an
Snack
infinite
pouch.
amount of
And
stuff.
and it's so sacred that no one will look in it.
Yeah.
You could literally
It's
put
like going in a
anything there.
woman's parts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like spreading
and she
her
keeps so much
folds
shit in there.
open.
She's
Yeah.
like pulling low. It's like literally a snack pocket. She could pull anything out of there.
and no one's gonna look
Mm-mm.
because it's too sacred.
Way too sacred.
Right. And it's just a sleeve. So
Yeah.
she's got heavy shit in there, but she has to like hold it.
Yeah,
like, press
and there,
it.
isn't there a pocket in her dress too,
I
I
think
don't-
or is it
so.
just in?
I thought it
the
was
sleeve?
in the sleeve.
Oh, okay. Well, I pictured that differently. It's fine.
Mm.
It's fine though. Whatever.
It just
Sa-
says safe hand pocket. So
Safe hand
and
pocket.
she refers to like reaching into her sleeve to get it.
Oh.
And they have like
a muff.
they
a little
have
bit.
like
yeah.
billowy sleeves.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
sleeve is
Like
like,
bell
So it could
sleeves.
like, what's in that girl? Boom, nothing. Get away. Get out of here. Get out of here.
It looks like the outline of a fabrial because it's just a silk sleeve. There's
Yeah,
definitely no
yeah.
way that does not look like you have
Yeah.
a broken fabrial in your pocket.
Yeah.
But it's fine.
I really love how at the end Jasna is like asking her questions like, I'm not going to tell you what happened, you tell me what is happening here. And she goes, well, I think your favriel doesn't work. I think you're faking it. And Jasna taking it upon her, the vigilante moment where she's like, why is it wrong what we just did?
yes.
Why is that wrong?
That was deep.
It was
Yeah.
deep. And Shalom was like, I don't know. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But it was.
It's like almost like a part of Shalon understands it and a part of Shalon is like, no. You know?
Yeah. That was good. I like their dynamic. I like Yasna's like, I'm older than you, I'm wiser than you, and I'm gonna teach you, but you gotta keep up.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna baby you. I'm not gonna coddle you.
Yeah.
And then I think once Yasna saw how good at drawing she was,
Drawer.
she's like, look at this drawer I got. And she's like when she's sending Dalinar pictures, and he's like, who the fuck drew this?
Right.
Yeah, I got myself
Right.
a
At
new.
first, Yasna's like, "Oh yeah, you draw or whatever," and then
Yeah.
it's like, "Oh, you didn't tell me you could capital D draw."
Yeah.
Oh, you draw.
Oh, you can draw pictures on the
Oh.
page that are like photo real, like real draw.
Yeah.
What do they call them? What's it called? A loon?
Chasm fiend,
No, iconoclast.
Thunderclast.
No. What is it called when you take on a young person to live with you?
award.
Award.
Award. When Dalinar's like, Yasna took on a ward? What the fuck?
Yeah.
What the fuck? And then I love their whole family relationship.
Me
Like,
too.
Dalinar loves Yasna like a daughter.
Yeah.
Navani is like, loves the cousins.
Yeah.
They're like, Navani, I love you so much. And then she's just looking at Dalinar like, what you doing later?
Ooh, I need to speak to you about
And
something
he's
in
like,
private.
God, that woman is hot.
Yeah.
Oh, this is so hard to say.
Yeah, and
no.
he's like loved her somewhat his whole life.
Yeah.
Even when he was married to
Which Matt didn't know in the book it's a different color.
What do you
the
mean?
text is
In
a
the
different
book,
color.
the text of when it says shh, it's a different color.
Oh yeah,
In
because
our book-
previously I had only ever listened
Yeah.
to the audiobook. So
Wait,
I'd listened
even
to the
in our
audiobook
book?
twice.
Uh-huh.
What color
It's not
is it?
it's
then-
like gray. It's a real
and
light
then-
gray.
this time I read the physical book and I was like, oh, that the sh is a different color of text.
Uh-huh.
Oh man.
I don't know. I didn't know that. I didn't read it always.
She doesn't come up very often, so when you do,
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's just a mystery that we know going on into the next book.
right.
Like, what the fuck happened to Dalinar's?
Who is
Shh.
And
Yeah,
they're
that
like, we
doesn't
know
get
you loved
resolved until
a lot. And he's like, yeah, I loved her.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did.
Yep.
Totally.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah, love of my life.
Adelyn's mom.
But I don't want to talk about it. It's too painful.
Yeah. Yeah. It's way too painful. Just put that
Yeah.
away. Yeah. And he's also like, what the why? I don't have time for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't, he literally can't even dwell on it because he can't keep it in his head long enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But it really the magic system rollout in this book is really subtle too. And so it's in the Cosmere it's called investiture, and in this book it's called, what do they call it?
Flashing?
Stormlight?
Well, that's one kind. Stormlight.
Yeah,
Yeah. And so there's these
16
storms,
kinds of investiture.
Oh, God, when he's out in the storm, they tie him to the
storm.
roof.
and he literally almost dies.
Well, they give him that.
Teft does.
Yeah,
because
Teft
he
gives him-
started to pick up on it.
He's like, here,
Yeah.
this is lucky. Hold on to
Hey,
it.
hold on to it. And Teft realized Teft comes. Do we know Teft's background in this book?
Yeah, I think partly.
So he comes from a background of people who believed in the radiance.
Yeah.
I think that's the first time we've said radiant.
Yeah.
He that believed in the
It
radiance
takes
and,
us a
and
while
the
to get to it
return
in the book, too.
Yeah,
so.
and return to radiance. And so Teft's like, what do you like? He starts to notice it first
Yeah.
before Kaladin does, and that's why when he gives, he starts to notice that
He's
all
like,
the
God damn it, all my
Are they
all my
called
spears
bromes?
are done again.
are they called bromes?
bromes? Like the bromes are a denomination.
Oh, they are, or like all the,
gems.
spheres.
The
The
spheres.
spheres go.
Yeah.
The spheres go
because
empty.
Kaladin's like, dang it, my spheres are all done again.
Yeah,
Like,
he's
they're-
like, and he just never
the
dawns
fuck?
on him, like, why are my spheres running out?
They always start light so fast these days. And then,
Yeah.
oh, dang it. And
Yeah.
Ted's
Gas
like,
must be giving me
oh.
defective spheres.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know how he figured that out. Fuck that little dude.
I know.
But what did y'all think of the storms? I think that's
That was a cool moment when
Really
they
cool.
tie him outside and
Yeah.
then the storm father shows up.
yeah, and he sees a flash of him.
And he's
Ooh,
like-
yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah,
There is someone in the storm.
yeah.
Yeah. And I loved the, they have like build up, the creme that builds up on
creme.
everything.
Yeah, and that's
Yes.
like also a cuss word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
All birds in this world are chickens, and everything else is a crab.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
Yes.
yeah.
And chicken's a delicacy.
And
I love-
yeah,
chickens from
all birds
Shin.
are chickens. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the rock buds, like the way he made the world all stormproof.
Yeah.
Like all the plants have protective measures for
Yes.
the storm,
hmm
and every architecture is designed to withstand the storm.
And there's cremlings everywhere, and they're just these little things that like scurry around.
Yeah, they're like little tiny crabs.
But where are
Like hermit
they?
crabs.
There's some side story where there's someplace else
Shin.
where there's soil
They're
and
in
stuff.
Shin.
Shinovar.
Shinovar.
So
Shinovar.
the
Which is
There's
where
no storms
Seth
there?
is from.
the east to the west, and Shinovar
Okay.
is all the way in the west. So by the time the storm has reached Shinovar, it's like a rainstorm. But all
Okay.
the way on like the east coast,
It's like a
is the Shattered
hurricane.
Plains. It's
Mhm.
Yeah.
like a Category 5 hurricane every single time.
Well, yeah, because we meet the lady who gets the dumb grass. He makes her take
Yes.
the piece, like he makes her take the grass, and she's like, "But it's dumb. It doesn't hide when I say stuff, or like when I poke it."
Yeah.
And he's like,
grass.
he's like, "Take care of the grass, and then you'll understand the grass." And she's like, "But it's stupid."
Take care of the grass until you don't think of it as weird.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that one of the prologue or the interludes?
it's later. It's
One
one
of
of the
the
interludes.
interludes,
yeah.
She's like the
What's her name?
The trader lady.
Trader, yes, she trades.
Is she Dawn Shard lady?
Yes, yep.
Okay.
She's the
yeah.
main character in the short story
The
slash
Dawn Shard.
novella, Dawn Shard.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So you see more. of
She
her
comes
later
back.
on.
Yeah,
Okay.
she comes. Yeah,
Which is crazy. One of the things that I do find overwhelming is because I'm a little bit of a perfectionist when it comes to being in a universe, and I feel like there's so much in the Cosmere.
There's
And
so
that,
much
like,
content, yeah.
There's so much, and I haven't read all of the books, and that makes me feel a little like, unqualified to talk about
Like,
it.
I don't know all the things.
Yeah, but it's also okay because you have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
And I get like I just want to catch the Easter eggs. I just want to catch the references. I just want to pick up on the little things. And
Yeah.
I feel like you have to really devote time and read them more than once and
For sure.
be in it. I think I've read that one 3 times now. Listened and half read. But I'm still like every time like what is happening here?
Yeah.
It's a lot.
It is
I
a
still
lot.
don't really know what's going on, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, it's not like some stuff happens in this book, but you know something huge is going on, and
Yeah.
you only get these brief glimpses of the hugeness of it.
The bigger
Right.
picture.
Mostly through Dalinar's visions.
Yes.
Where he's seeing the past.
And we kind of get glimpses,
History.
and we really want to know what radiants are.
yeah. And we get the like, do it. Like, save the
Yeah.
world. Like, unite them. and do it
Unite them.
faster.
And what does that mean? Like who?
Unite
Yeah. Who am I supposed to unite? And he like goes through all these different options. Like, who am I supposed to unite? You know.
Yeah.
But Parshendi, we haven't really talked about the Parshendi. I think they're the coolest thing. They have that carapace that like grows into their body. Their
Yeah.
armor is in their body. They're cousins to the Parshmen, who are enslaved people.
Yeah. And they look like, did anybody watch Sequest DSV?
No.
Yes.
I don't have my phone.
Yes.
But there's a character that has different
Your
colored
phone's in the
skin
bathroom,
patches.
Rachel.
Thank you. There's a character that has different colored skin patches, like red and black.
Oh, and they look
skin,
just like
and that's
it.
every time they mention that, that's the only character that I could see.
Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and you're like, you want to know a little bit more about them, and you're like, what do you mean?
because they're just like, I don't know, they're slaves.
do you
They
mean
like it.
They don't know anything about their enemy.
Not really a lot, yeah.
No, but they don't care. 'cause
And
they're just
all they
so-
know is that they sing,
Mm-hmm.
and they sing
Yeah.
these songs, and that they kind of have like a hive mind when they're singing,
Yeah,
and they
And they
can
get
jump,
really upset when you touch a dead body.
and they
Yeah.
jump the chasms, and some of them
Which
have,
is so creepy.
and some of them have beautiful light beads in their hair.
yeah, woven into their beards.
Yeah.
And they're all after the gem hearts, which they're like a chasm fiend.
Which is like the power on the planet, so
Yeah.
it makes sense. And
Yeah.
they know what Kaladin is before anyone else does.
yeah.
They're like, ooh, that
Well, he
guy.
does do the big light show in front of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're like,
Yeah.
oh no.
Yeah. Oh, we're going to just back away, like Homer going into the plant.
Yeah, yeah.
Back away, back
I
away.
mean,
Okay, can someone explain to me what Kaladin is?
Yeah. So I think in this book, what we can share is that you know that he is like somehow related to the Radiants, right? So at the end, we know that he has this bond with the Spren. We know that Dalinar is also somehow related to the Radiants. And he has.
no,
No,
No.
sorry.
we don't know that in this book.
Well, my thing is, it seems
Oh.
like he has the powers that Light Eyes have when they have
Yeah.
the shard blade, but he doesn't have the shard blade.
Yes, he does. That's exactly what's happening.
Okay.
So
But no, we don't know that.
Okay.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
just know
we
that
know
he
he's
can.
doing something
He can
you're
now
like
use
you're
the
Stormlight.
supposed
Knight's
to
Radiant. He can
Yeah.
use Stormlight
Mhm.
to do magic stuff. And he has this spren that is connected to him
his
somehow.
companion. Yeah, his like soul familiar.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. And he says doesn't he say the words?
He says the
he
first
does
ideal.
at the end, at the very because as
When he gives
slow
them the
as
light
this
show.
book is, the payoff at the end
Is so
Yeah.
good.
is so worth it.
Almost all of these books are like that.
Yeah,
And like all of them are. And they
'Cause-
start
yeah.
switching point of views really fast and like it's
Mm-hmm.
crazy.
because Syl is like, say the words, Kaladin, and he's like, I will protect those who cannot protect themselves.
Right.
And then he like
Ooh.
explodes.
Yeah.
And it's this such a good moment
Chills.
because
Yeah.
Chills.
Yeah.
they go out to the tower to try to get this gem heart. And Sadius is like, peace out, motherfucker, and
Oh,
leaves.
that
And he technically, Kaladin is supposed to go with him, but like Nobody's checking up on them. They could have just died. He's like, this is our moment. We could just run.
Let's go.
Right.
They had all been preparing as the bridge crew to
run.
abandon the princedoms.
Yeah. And then he's like, oh God, I can't do it. And he's like, but I'm not going to make you guys do it. Like, we'll put it to a vote. Like, whoever wants to stay can stay. But if you guys want to run, run. And they're like, dude, like, we're going to leave you.
We're not,
leaving you.
and we're not going to leave them. Like at that point, they all have this sense of integrity and honor that none of the Light Eyes have.
Right.
None of the Bright Lords have.
Right.
And one of the things that feels so satisfying to me is Kaladin's ability to just like glance at a battlefield and know every single thing that's happening
Right.
and be able to see it. And like that moment where he fails because Bridge 4 won.
Yeah.
Right? And him not taking into consideration what would happen to the entire army
Yep.
if Bridge 4 learned how to protect itself.
Yeah.
I love that part because it's such a like,
He's like, oh shit, I got a bunch
He
of people
had been
killed.
deluding himself up to that point about what the purpose of the bridge cruise was. And he was deluding himself into thinking that Sadeas was just doing a horrible job managing and training the bridge crews.
and that
And so he thought, okay, I'll train my bridge crew and we'll show Sadeas what the bridge crews can do if they're properly trained. And the only thing that did was force the truth upon him about how Sadeas actually views the bridge crews.
which is
Right.
garbage.
Yeah. Cannon fodder. You're like drawing the fire away from the actual valuable members of the army.
Yeah.
And so in the end, like when they turn around and they're like, well, then we're going to do it because otherwise he doesn't have any way off because we're the only bridge here.
Yeah.
And so they have to
And
like.
Dalinar had saved them at another point.
He had just saved
And I was
them.
like, are you guys going to meet in this moment?
Yeah.
Buddies.
Well, when they're running.
Meet Kaladin's who you've been looking for, bruh.
No, when they're running and they're going to fire arrows at the bridge and he's like, bridge side carry. And you're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
texted Kate at this point and said, if Dalinar dies, I'm never speaking to you again.
and I didn't respond.
And you said, okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. 'cause
Like
then
I was so
Attached.
attached and so afraid at that moment. I was like, if this is what this is
Yeah.
all leading up to.
We have to give the narrators in this they are the ultimate narrators, a married couple. What's Jack's last name? What's his name? Oh, it's not on there.
Michael
Jack
Kramer
what?
and Kate
Michael.
Redding.
Michael. Why do I always think it's Jack?
Oh, it's Michael Kramer and Kate Redding?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. And it's insanely amazing.
Kate Redding's always good.
Michael
good.
Kramer's
She's one of the few I can stand.
Michael Kramer and Kate Redding also did all of the Wheel of Time books.
And
yeah.
Michael Kramer
Oh.
is so
Yeah.
old school
But his-
audiobook narrator with
But-
the like his inflection.
But his men, like Dalinar is such a like robust and like fatherly, but also like daddy.
Yeah.
You know, like he
Yeah.
does it really well.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think he has really good voices.
Yeah.
It's really easy
Yeah.
to listen to.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this whole scene was so good.
It
It's
really
so
was.
good. Because then he says the words and he explodes.
And
then he's like ordering everyone around. He's like, Adolin, get your men, get across the bridge.
and Adolin's like, "Who are you?
He's like, I'll get your
Do it.
dad.
Who are you? I'm gonna
like,
take my horse and we're gonna
Yeah.
go. Who are you? Who do you think you are, you with your brown eyes?"
He does it.
Yeah.
And
He does
later
it.
he's like, what? Why did I do
What just happened?
What just happened?
Did I just get alphaed by the bridge boy?
Yeah.
You got
Yeah, you
Sigmund.
did.
Yeah, you did.
He's
Yeah,
like,
you got
I'll get your
Sigmund.
dad. I'll be right behind you. You fucking go. And so
Yeah.
he starts getting everybody off, and then Kaladin gets Dalinar basically by himself.
Right.
Yeah.
And
With
there's
nothing.
another shard. There's another shard bearer there, like
Yeah.
a Parshendi shard bearer
Yeah.
that is trying to almost have a moment with Dalinar. Does that shard bearer?
Yeah, she talks to him. She's like, we've been
that
looking for
shard
you.
bearer.
That shard bearer.
That shard bearer talks to him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That shard bearer does.
Yeah, that shard bearer talks to him.
The person in the shard plate of
Yeah.
no specific gender.
Wait, what?
See? We were going good. We were doing good. We were doing good. We were doing good. We were doing good.
That's not
You
that.
guys are acting like that shard bearer has a name.
Yeah, that shard bearer is a nobody. But yeah, the Shardbearer is almost trying to like connect. Is this does this the book where that Shardbearer waves at him?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Like
waves.
salutes.
They wave at him. Yeah, and he's like,
And he just does.
he's
just
like,
salutes
cool,
back.
right?
respect,
Respect.
honor, respect, integrity. What rules are y'all following? Let me tell you about my rules. I'm only gonna break one, and it's for my wife.
Lover.
Yeah.
Lava.
Yeah.
My brother's wife.
But then they roll back in, and Sadius is like, I don't know, it didn't work. That whole
That
thing
guy.
that Dalinar was trying, it just didn't work. And Dalinar's like, you son of a bitch.
I was like
Yeah.
almost in tears.
And everybody is so on edge. And Kaladin is like, I don't believe any of you. You're not going to do what you say. What are you? That moment, like, it's so satisfying for Dalinar to just take care of Kaladin.
Yeah. Just be like, you know what? Here, have my
And
shard
for him
blade.
to-
I don't
and to
fucking
maintain
care.
the tension from Kaladin's perspective, like the
Yeah.
character, his whole story has built up so that even at this point, when he's like Dalinar has given his word, like, yeah, we're going to go back. I'm going to take care of your men. And Kaladin's like, yeah, what the fuck ever. Like, I
Yeah.
did what I
I
needed
mean-
to do. I would do it again, but I still don't trust you.
I accept that I'm gonna die now.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
we have to talk about the structure of the story and the flashbacks and how it isn't chronological. Like, we do go back in time. We do have all
Yeah.
these TN chapters. We know that Kaladin,
It was like watching a slow train wreck.
yeah, and we know that something really bad happened to him.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Right.
and we don't know how bad it is. And when you learn how bad it actually was and where that distrust comes from and
The
how
heartbreak.
and when he had that naivete and like actually trusted Amaram, and then what he did to his men, it
is traumatizing.
Yeah, it is kind of for us as
I
readers.
was
Yeah, it's
traumatized.
traumatizing for Kaladin, too.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I know he has a tattoo on his forehead. Tattoo
No,
on
it's
his
a
forehead.
brand, like a brand.
It's a burn.
It's a
Yeah.
brand.
Oh, I
It's a
thought it was a
brand. He's
a
branded like-
tattoo.
No, like a branding
brand.
iron.
Oh wow, yeah,
Sizzled.
sash.
Yeah, and oh wait, is that
Yeah.
a spoiler?
Oh, what?
Oh, sorry. Oops.
Yeah. Shh, shh. You
I'm
know what
gonna
you should
start the
do?
second
Every
book
time there's a
tonight.
spoiler, you should just put over it. Yeah.
Well, it's because this book feels like such a setup that everything just, when you read the next book, everything just flows into the next book. That's why
I'm excited.
it's really hard to be like, wait, does this happen in this book or does this happen in the
Yeah, because
next
it's
book?
not a cliffhanger. It concludes, but also there's so much we don't know.
Yeah. Well, next one is Words of Radiance.
Yeah.
And it
that's
literally just
Shallan's book.
picks up real smooth.
I don't think they
Like-
make this version in that book.
I think they do.
I have
The
looked.
trade paperback.
The big one, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll go check out that little bookstore that has the coffee shop and see if they have it, because I think I saw it.
Thank you for
Let me know.
sacrificing for us.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
I'll go check it out.
I love that book. When I walk in there, it's like everywhere I look, I'm like, I read that one and that one and that one and that one and that one.
I want to go.
It's all like book talk books. I'm like, I read that smutty book, that one over there, that monster romance, that monster romance. Yeah.
This was good. And this is our first like male author book that we're doing.
Yes.
And I
it
think
is.
it's important to note why. And I feel like it's because Brandon Sanderson, out of all of the male authors that I've ever read, listened to the criticism about his female characters, took it to heart, and got better.
Yeah.
Leveled
and
up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Leveled up.
And if you've read like Mistborn, so we can just talk about Mistborn for a second. Ven is the main character in that book, but she is like the only woman in the whole book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
it's just one woman who kind of acts like a dude the entire time.
Eh.
And so that's, I think a lot of the criticism came from that
Right.
trilogy.
Well, I read Warbreaker.
yeah,
Is-
I've read Warbreaker.
Warbreaker,
Yeah.
and the female characters in that book are like scratch your eyes out bad. Like,
Oh, do you think that?
yeah. Reread it and
I actually think I have that one on. I think I've started it again. That's the one where they have color, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
color is
And
the
breath.
basis for the magic.
And breath.
Yeah.
The investor.
Yeah. There's only
The
2 female
investiture.
characters. There's 3 female characters,
Yeah.
more or less.
The sisters.
There's the sisters, and then one of the gods is
Okay.
a female. But the sisters are like,
She's like Aphrodite, the god.
yeah,
one. Yeah.
It was challenging. It was
Okay.
challenging maybe just because I read 2 Stormlight Archives, and then I went back and read that one,
Interesting.
and it was
The
challenging.
contrast.
The
Yeah.
contrast was really difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I also think that he comes from a place of, so I almost don't, it's to me, I think he is so like gentle
Yeah.
and so like, even though he's Mormon, right? And Hannah can talk about this a little bit. Like, you are like, okay, well, how much of that is going to pop up in here? Because, there's some pieces of Mormonism that feel like, okay. But it feels very like pure. Who said that word?
It feels more pure to me than it does male. Like when I read this, I don't get male.
Yeah.
I get super pure.
Yeah. Like
super-
idealism, like
yes.
honor,
Yeah.
integrity.
Codes, honor,
Yeah.
integrity,
Yeah. And he
Good
feels
guys.
he feels
Yeah, the
so
good guy, not the good guy that has the like. I'm also like I'm a little bit bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's not a lot of morally gray characters. These are
Yeah.
like good men. You
yeah.
know, like
yes. Solid, wholesome,
very
Yeah.
wholesome.
very wholesome. So it doesn't feel as like there are points like the safe hand thing. There are points where you're reading it where you're like, oh yeah, there's a dude. That's a dude thing.
Yeah.
But most of it feels kind of, what's the right word? Like, just kind of null. Like,
Yeah.
who, And so it doesn't, I don't feel unsafe reading
I
it.
definitely don't feel unsafe.
Well,
Yeah.
a lot of times when honor pops up in male books,
Yeah.
I don't always like it.
Right.
Well, I've told you, like, I don't like the term.
Like the honorable man
Yeah.
or whatever. But this feels very like, no, I'm trying really hard.
Right.
Honor is just the word I'm using for it.
Right.
But I'm trying to be a good person.
Right.
And I'm trying to get everyone around me to be better people too.
Right.
Like but there's problems
Like,
with how we treat each other.
yeah,
and we need
for
to
the
fix
betterment
this.
of the world.
Yeah.
It's very much like the world is at stake.
It's not an egotistical honor.
Yeah.
Right. And so because of that breakdown of the ego, and I think ego is something that like is so, everybody has ego, but like that breakdown and yeah.
And it's actually one of the major plot points in the book because everybody thinks Dalinar believes he's better than everyone. He's like, no, you're only doing that because you think you're better than everybody. He's like, no, I just think we can all be better.
Because they all think he's performing.
Yeah.
And he's not.
He's not.
No.
He's like, no, I think we can all be better. We
Yeah.
can be better people. We were meant to be better than this.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, you mean you're better than me? And he's like, no, I think like literally Sadius can almost try to kill me. And you guys are like, well, your fault for trusting him. He's like, this isn't how we used to be. This isn't how we have to be. We need to get better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I loved that. Like I love honor and I love a good guy. Like
yeah,
just
he's a real good guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kaladin's a real good guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Almost like flawed, but like never not making. Does Kaladin make any poor choices?
I mean, he makes a couple, but he's always trying to do the right thing.
Yeah.
And it just ends up
Yeah.
not working
It's
out
always
well.
from like really good intention.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to think if there's anything else. These books are so dense. There's so much lore. There's so much story. There's so many like details in it.
I think we meet Zeth one other time.
Yeah. Zeth has some interludes.
Mhm.
Doesn't he have a couple?
He
I
does.
think 2 more.
I think we find out
Yeah,
like
where he's
they
working
just
for
discarded.
Does
the
he
gangster
end-
guy.
Yeah.
Where does
Yeah.
is that his last chapter in this?
No, because then his last chapter is when he goes to kill the king. No.
Talavangian?
What's his name?
Taravangian.
Taravangian?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
finds out he's the one that's holding his
Yeah.
His
stone or whatever.
truth
And he's the
stone
king
or
of the-
Oathstone.
He's the king and that lives in the town.
He's the gentleman.
He's the
with
hospital guy.
He's
Yeah.
the
Free
Yes.
health care.
Yes,
the
and we find
hospital
out
Bernie
guy.
Sanders.
Ooh, and we find out that that's
Is
what
he? Is that who
those-
he is?
I visualize him as Bernie
yeah,
Sanders.
Bernie Sanders.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
like I totally.
He's very
yeah,
Bernie
I totally
Sanders
can see.
coded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's also kind of like dim sometimes, like he's so old. You know who he reminds me of? The priest in A Princess Bride.
Yeah.
Mad.
That guy. You know how he kind of like, or maybe the king that kind of like scurries in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Like
king.
some days he's just like, so we didn't talk about that. So if you notice the way, there is a letter. So if you look at the structure and how it's all divided, every part, each part has the name of a poem, and the poem's actually in the back of the book. But in the first part, all of the little things at the top
The
are
captions.
the caption. Is that what they're called? Isn't there another word for those?
Chapter heading.
No, there's
I'm not
another
sure.
word. Anyways, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to think of it. But it's people when they're dying, their last words.
Yeah.
And they
Yes.
seem to be remembering or coming into contact with like these things that happened in the past.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like
Right.
things they can't explain. And so somebody is writing down what people are saying so that we get this and we're like, what the fuck is this? What are these people talking about?
Yeah.
And we know it has probably something to do with the
The end of the world. The
end of the
desolation.
world, the desolations. Yeah, but then the second part is a letter of
Yeah.
two people talking, or like one person talking to another person. And I think I know who it is, but I'm not going to say it in this book.
We
Okay.
probably agree on who we think it is.
Yeah, and do we think it's which one do we think is writing the other one? I think it's the other guy writing the guy in the book.
Why don't
Because
y'all
of
just
one
tell
word.
each other?
No, I think
Well, I
it's
mean,
the
it's
other
a
way
char-
around.
Oh, you think it's
what she's talking about.
yeah. Wait. So you think it's the
He
guy?
absolutely knows what you mean, and he means the other way.
Wait, what?
He told
I think
you
it's the
said
guy that
something.
we meet in the book writing a letter to somebody
To the
else.
other guy.
Oh,
Yeah.
But he
okay.
says he uses the diction that the other guy uses. But also, I will say this,
This
Michael Kramer, the other guy's voice from the
Mhm.
other book,
Yeah.
he every time he pops up, he uses that voice, so you can get an idea that that's who it is quicker.
I think he uses
like
the
this.
other guy's original name
I like a good
in one of the
Mm.
segments. And that's
he
why I
does?
think he's addressing the other guy.
Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, that other guy's name is in this book?
I think it's in one of the sections of the
Oh,
like,
wow.
chapter
Yeah,
headings.
cool. That would be that's a huge thing.
I love how
I know
specific,
they-
non-specific that whole conversation was.
My
That's
Is
God.
it
That
that
they-
guy
could be
or is
talking
it the other guy? I
And
think
then
it's
they
the other
also
guy.
mentioned the
Oh.
original name of one of the other guys from a different book series.
Oh, wow.
Oh no!
Does the guy with
Oh,
the big guy?
alone.
Does the big
We're just
guy?
sitting over here with our copies of Way of Kings, like, yes,
It's
all
like-
of this is making so much sense.
It's like a brunch conversation where Rachel and I, where we're all trying to talk about nasty, dirty stuff, but like in
code
in
around the
code.
children.
I
Is
thought
the
we did really well.
isn't the guy's name with the A? That's the big dude. Isn't that in
Adonalcium?
here? Yeah, isn't that in this book?
I think they mentioned Adonalcium once in the
Does
book.
Odium come up?
Odium comes up at the very, very
At
end.
the very
It
end.
does,
Odium
yeah.
reigns.
I think it's like the last line.
Yeah.
In
Because
the
it's
epilogue?
it's in Dalinar. I think the last vision that Dalinar has.
Yeah,
ends
I was
with-
God, the one you called the Almighty, the creator of mankind.
Until-
the figure closed his eyes, and now I am dead. Odium has killed me. I'm sorry.
Odium. Okay, so we do
Odium
meet Odium.
reigns.
Because we don't find out who's giving him the visions until like the 5th to last page.
Yeah.
Yeah. Though
Okay.
he does figure out their recordings pretty quickly. And that he's
Yeah, because he
just-
talks to him, and
yeah,
they're like,
he's he thinks
they're
he's answering him.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
scripted
Because he's like,
responses.
no, trust him. And he's like, oh, he told me to trust Sadius. So.
yeah.
But no, he was just,
That was just the
it was just
play.
recording.
Yeah.
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 Those were interesting because those felt like, oh, these are going to feel real significant eventually.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
right now you're just like, I don't know.
He
What's
does-
I
happening.
don't know.
He does such a good job of wrapping it up and also leaving so much to wonder.
He gives you a good, like, this is there is enough story in this book to make it like the ending is a good ending, but
Yeah.
you know that that's not where it ends.
For sure.
It's a much bigger story.
Yeah, so it's a very good like episodic, but also like
Like
I'm a building
long-
block in a larger thing.
Yes,
Yeah.
very much so.
Yeah.
Do you think this would do okay as a show? Like, how could you
No.
even make this as a TV show?
You couldn't.
I don't think you could either. That's why nobody's done any of his movies or books. Not one book.
He's been under negotiations multiple times to get
And
his
it's
works
never-
adapted.
It's never
but
good enough.
That just
He
depends. Like Wheel of
is-
Time, they're making Wheel of Time, and they're doing an okay job.
Mhm.
But it's
But
not.
the thing with Wheel of Time is you could cut a lot of chaff, and you could really make it like you could narrow the story down pretty significantly, and still
Yeah.
sort of keep the bones of it together,
Yeah.
and still make you can make a TV show out of it because a lot of the other stuff is just filler.
yeah.
Right.
But there's no filler. Like I don't know what you would cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you
Yeah.
cut anything, you're going to have to cut huge swaths of stuff later because it all builds.
Right.
So you could end up not putting something in season
I
one.
mean, it would have to be like a 20 episode.
It'd have to be big.
Right.
It'd
And
have to
you'd
be
have
really
to
big.
have
Yeah.
multiple TV series for each book series going in parallel, because when you get to like book 4 in the Stormlight Archive, you start referencing things from the other series,
Yeah.
Hmm.
and it
So
would
it's
be
like, where do you
spoilers for
start?
the other series to
They'd have to be going on at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how they would do it. It would have to be somebody like a Peter Jackson type person that just
And
like
I think he is
could do
under
it.
negotiations for Mistborn TV series right now.
yeah,
And he
that
said
would
it's
probably
going better than usual, because this is like the fourth time. This is like the fourth time a studio has tried to like work with him to make an adaptation of Mistborn, but he's always unsatisfied with how much creative control he will maintain and how much they will be committed to actually telling the whole story.
Well, he
And
doesn't
so
care
he's
if it gets
really
made into a
conservative.
TV show.
Right. He doesn't
That's
need
why.
Yeah.
He doesn't
He
need
made-
it, and it's just
Yeah.
if it's
He
not
did the
adding to
largest
his lore,
Kickstarter
what's the
in
point?
history just
Yeah.
for some secret books that he wrote during COVID.
Yeah. Yeah. If he needs another million, he could just crank out 5 more books next month and be
Right.
fine.
yeah. Crazy.
I'm glad
He's
he's
a machine.
holding strong and not.
He said he
giving
writes
in.
300,000 words a year.
Wow. I feel like that's a lot.
That's
That's
like
a lot.
1,000 words a day. Yeah. That's significant. It's like a short story a day.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well,
No
I think this
breaks.
is probably a good place to leave it.
Yeah.
And then we'll pick up next time with Words of Radiance.
Yeah, but we also have to talk about our
Yeah. And
All right.
we have a bonus chapter where we will be leaving Matt out. Sorry, Matt.
Thanks for joining us, Matt.
I
Bye.
don't want to be in your girls club. It's fine.
We
Yeah.
have to feast Sheath and shatter it.
Yeah.
All right, I'll log out then.
No,
Until-
not
wait,
right
wait.
now.
Until
No, we're
next
not going to do it.
time.
Okay, we're not going to do it right now. We're going to do it another
Oh.
time.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well,
it's
fun
been
then.
fun. Okay, thanks, Matt. Thanks
Bye.
for joining us. Bye.
Is it hot in here or is it just me tuning in to hear these three chatting about fantasy novels of the spicy variety? Not your average book club, if you know what I mean. Are you happy to see us? Or is that a dagger? It's feast, sheath, shatter.